Hey, this is Friends Are for Podcasting, episode 3. My name is Jenessa, and this week I had the pleasure and the honor of interviewing my friend Afomia. She is an Instagram and YouTube content creator. Beautiful, beautiful human. I actually just recently met her not too long ago as she was coming back to LA to do more community-based projects, and we really just hit it off, and I really wanted her to be incorporated into this podcast series for a multitude of reasons. One, I really believe that she has an amazing objective in her returning to Los Angeles, in bringing communities together. With her content background, she's just unbelievable. And she has the most amazing personality. Oftentimes in this podcast episode, we were giggling and talking about how we are the exact same person. We have the same energy. So if you don't already follow her, I definitely think that you should. She's magical and she's special. And in fact, she's so special that we didn't really have that much of a timer on our podcast episode, and it ran for 2.5 hours. So I had to cut a big chunk of this episode, unfortunately, which was so sad because I'm really just trying to keep it either an hour or under. And so it was really difficult to cut out some stuff of the episode. But like always in this series, Afomia, how did we become friends?
How do you become friends? And this is honestly, I will say, my favorite way of making friends, which is literally just walking up to somebody on the street. And
End of podcast right there.
Just walk up to the strangers and be like, be my friend. As an adult, I think that there's like a little bit of a trickier sort of navigation around it, because I will say as a child, I really didn't struggle with it. I would just walk up to somebody.
Girl, you could never struggle with making friends. I know you. You're not going to be struggling making friends.
That's very generous. And it's probably, it is accurate. So I bought a one-way ticket to Lisbon. I had a remote situation work-wise, and I had
the dream.
A month and a half where I could kind of be working remotely, and I was like, you know what, I'll go to Lisbon. It was like November of 2024, and I did not know a single person on the continent of Europe, let alone like the country of Portugal.
Great.
Great
start.
And I just pushed myself and was like, I remember it because it was like day 3, and I was like, you have bit off more than you can chew. You really have. But then I just started literally walking up to people on the street and being like, I overheard 2 girls with American accents behind me, turned around and was like, hey girls, what are y'all up to? Listen, I'm new here. Can I? And they were so nice. Turns out
love that.
One of them was Ethiopian as well.
Of course.
And also I was already following her on
Wait,
Instagram.
Stop.
I swear to you. Her name is Hiwete. Hey, Hiwete. She's wonderful.
Girl.
She's a podcaster.
I love that.
And I had actually saved her content about Lisbon already. So it was insane.
Wait, what was she doing there? If you don't mind me saying.
She's a podcaster. And I'm so sad that I don't actually remember 100% exactly what she does. But she does make beautiful content. She was making content about living in Lisbon. And I think she teaches courses on podcasting and a bunch of stuff. And she worked in the podcast space for a while.
Love that.
Very talented, very beautiful.
That's so funny.
And yeah, she was just so cool. And then she was really great at bringing people together. So I went to a couple of like her events and stuff. But anyway, that's back to the concept of like how you make friends.
Well, that wasn't the original question.
How did we meet? It's like we walked up to each other. I strolled in with Hannah, and Hannah's my friend, and we were having a day where we were kind of saying, like, we didn't know what we were doing. So we were just like, oh, look at this what is this thing? There's that, in front of Coda, there's that, whatever, the bear or something?
It's a dog, yeah.
It's a dog, yes, yeah. I'm sorry, it's a dog. So we're like, what is this dog? Let's go inside and find out. And it was like a random side quest. And then we went in there, and I was like, I want to talk to the curly-haired girl.
I do have curly hair, by the way. I do not have curly hair right now, but I do have curly hair.
It was beautiful, but this is also very cute.
Thank you so much.
It's so cute. And so we were just like, let's just talk to the curly-haired girl. And what I actually really enjoyed was how enthusiastically a lot of people in LA don't speak enthusiastically, in my opinion.
Girl,
It's
no,
very jaded.
they don't.
And I felt like you didn't reserve your excitement for life. And I was like, I
Thank
like
you.
this. We walked in, we talked, and I was like, this very enthusiastic and like just like super present. Like I just loved your presence, but I also felt and I don't know if you feel this ever, but it's like, oh wow, this person is like me. Like there's a similarity. And I was like,
Yeah.
in the way that we relate, or I just felt like I was talking to myself, but not in the way that like it was like talking to a cooler version of myself. I don't know how to say.
My God.
I loved it. I was just like, she's so cool, and we can get along. And then we went to Justa.
Love Justa.
And I had a
Justa
lovely-
is so good.
It was great, and we were there for like 2 hours.
Truly.
Yeah.
And we were talking for such a long time. And I remember that conversation where something which how about this? We'll like totally dive into certain conversation points that I have for you, because
Great,
I
love it.
think what we were originally going to talk about, we can segue into it. But talking about Justa, we had a conversation about how there is this kind of inactivity with dating right now, that we're being more intentional as women in dating, that it's not necessarily pinpointing or poking at a particular person or a circumstance or a thing. It's just we're seeing a pattern in our lives of how we approach dating and trying to figure out what we can do to change it, make it better, right? That was the conversation that we were having. And I told you, I don't remember where I found this. No, you know what? I think ChatGPT told me.
Oh wow!
No, which is crazy.
because the
it
AI
clocked it.
has figured us out. They know all our faults.
No, it truly. I felt clocked
Ooh,
by
they're
my
like,
ChatGPT.
we're reading all of you. We know all of you.
We understand the human existence. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's insane. Yeah.
But I had read it that sometimes vulnerability is mistaken for intimacy when you are meeting somebody. That I think it's primarily men, because I think women have a very different approach to dating other women. I also believe that women with platonic relationships with women do not have this this problem with vulnerability,
with platonic relationships
with other women.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
I don't believe that it is as difficult as a woman dating a man, which is vulnerability. Your sense of vulnerability, putting yourself out there, is sometimes mistaken for intimacy, when in actuality, you are just being authentically yourself and who you actually are and how you want to portray yourself. And that ability to be vulnerable and to put yourself forward is it's almost daunting for a man, because they're not able, from my personal experience, I'm not generalizing men at all, but I do think from my experience, it's very like men are taken aback by that level of vulnerability and openness.
Yeah.
And so they perceive that to be immediate intimacy of like, I love you. And that's where like love bombing comes into play. What's been your experience with it?
When you say about the intimacy thing of like
Intimacy as far as like emotional availability.
Yeah.
Because I'm not talking, obviously it could be misconstrued as like physical intimacy, but really what I'm talking about is like your level of openness is being equated with like an almost bonded approach of like, oh my God, I need you and I love you. And they're mistaking that level of openness as like very intimate relationship building. And so love bombing is something that I think many women have unfortunately struggled with in the most recent years, because we are lacking a sense of connectivity and community.
And I haven't fully cracked the code. So, but what I will say from something that I've experienced is that I have noticed with people who maybe weren't raised in environments that were as loving as the environment that I was raised in, find it, are drawn to me. Like I will like even if it doesn't become a relationship, but somebody who professes feelings for me very quickly hasn't experienced like didn't have a very loving upbringing or don't have very loving friends around them that are like, and I'm not only that, I'm also like very physically affectionate as well too. Like I hug people. I'm very expressive. I affirm a lot, and that's just my personality. But it was also like, it was something that was celebrated in my home. My parents loved me. My siblings loved me. I'm not saying like we were perfect. We definitely had fights and arguments, whatever. But like, there's very much like a deep love that I think that. In fact, yesterday I was hanging out with two friends, and they were telling me, because we were coworkers for a while, and I was like, it's really special that we worked together for like maybe 3 months, like 4 years ago, and we're still friends. I think that's so special. And then my friend Christina said to me, she's like, you're one of the most loving people I've ever met. And I was like, that's so kind. I was like, I think there are other loving people too. Like, I feel that from you, actually. I feel like you're very loving as well. And
I have so much love to give. I have so much love to give.
And I think the challenge for us becomes how to do it responsibly and also with discernment. So,
girl, discernment has been the 2026 word of the day. I think I said discernment 5,000 times today having this conversation with my aunt, because you're absolutely right. I think we have great discernment for others, right? And it's not to say that it's not to say that people look to us for advice by any means. But I do appreciate the fact that friends of ours will like come up to us and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think I should do here? And you offer your advice because they trust you, they know how loving you are, and they appreciate your point of view. Now, that discernment may not be able to be translated into your personal life, which is the most upsetting part of it all, right?
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure, great, hit me.
What do you feel like is the most, like, where do you feel like you're being the most hypocritical when it comes to dating?
Let me just say, let me preface that I think in every facet of my dating experience, all of the above. It's E, all of the above. It's not D or B or C. It's E, all of the above. It's okay. Hold on. Let me actually be serious for a second and think about the most hypocritical, because it's all of the above, but there probably is one that is more substantial than the other. I think where I'm most hypocritical is feeling a sense of reservation in the first stages of dating. I say to my friends all the time, be a little mysterious.
I've never have I been mysterious.
No, literally me neither. I can't be. I physically cannot be. I'm so begrudgingly, I am very open all the time to everyone. But again, this is the vulnerability is now being equated with intimacy conversation, because I'm not even just talking I'm talking platonically as well. I'll have a good like friend moment where we really deep dived the first time that we sat down together and like actually talked and got to know each other. So many intimate details about each other. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. I think a lot of people will also equate their vulnerability with a lack of strength and or a weakness of some kind. And I have never identified with that. I have always been an open human. Always. Unapologetically.
I also think that I do that because I think one of the most unhealthy things you can do is start a relationship based on a projection of who you are. I got into a relationship one time with this guy. Bless him. No, truly, bless him. I don't know. I hope he's doing well.
God bless him.
God bless him. But when we had just messaged, we had a lot of mutual friends. We'd messaged on Facebook, And the first thing I did was invite him to a play that I was in. That was our like first time we hung out. And not only was it a play that I was in, it was a play that was like, we got in your face. It was literally a single line in a box. Like the audience was like a single line in a box, and we were like weaving in and out of them. And like at some points of the show, I am standing this close to this man performing. And I'm doing a really good job about it. Actually, they wrote a little article. Anyway, I did a great job.
You were famous.
You're famous. I knew that I was like, and I saw the look of wonder on his face. He was like, and then he talked about it afterwards too. So I was like, and we ended up hanging out. And then that night became our first date afterwards. And then we were super intense. Like I was flying to New York and he dropped me off to the airport the next morning. And it was just like, and from there on, we immediately got in a relationship. And it was just like, I slowly watched as I became more and more human, this person being less and less interested in me. And that's not but I played into that myself too. Like as a performer, I feel like as well too. You want people to see you in a certain way. And that was a lesson I learned at 25 that I really tried to.
Because I actually spoke about this in a separate episode of this podcast. Truly, I firmly believe that the marker of a failed relationship, my stomach is growling, the marker of a failed relationship is when your partner unfortunately has a projection of expectation of who they want you to be versus who you actually are. They perceive you to be one way when you aren't. And when they're disappointed by the fact that that expectation is not met, that's when they would like to fail and break up and or mutually separate. I think, again, I love that I'm bringing this up in a separate episode of this podcast because we already did, but I'd like to get your opinion on it. Sure. That I believe that platonic friendships are more devastating as far as a breakup goes than a romantic relationship for a multitude of reasons. But I think one of them is that you expect your platonic friend to be seen exactly as how they are, and you see them for who they actually are. And so when you're disappointed by that person, that means that you have exhausted all options of trying to figure this out and to continue maintaining a friendship. And that's when it becomes the most devastating, because your separation of that human is entirely because you've tried so desperately. You wanted this to work so desperately. And you know that person, but they have failed you and or have disappointed you, and you know that it's not a right relationship to be in. You know it's not good for you. Versus sometimes, I'm not saying all romantic relationships fail and end because there's a projected expectation, but I think for like a 3-month, 1 year relationship where you're like barely getting to know this person, a breakup of that like time frame is a little bit less of a blow to the head than something like a 10+ year friendship with someone, because they don't really know you. You haven't given you have not been giving them the opportunity to know you.
They're meeting the HR rep. They're not meeting you. Like, do you know what I mean? They're meeting the representative. Yes. They're meeting the mascot. And that's what I'm saying is like why I try not to be mysterious on the first dates or mysterious early on. My mom has always been really good about saying like, you don't have to reveal everything. You can allow this to happen over time because you need trust to like, people have to earn that. I get that. I'm like,
yeah, we have the same mom too.
I love that. I love that.
But I'm the same mom too.
I'm also like fail fast, you know? But here's the thing. I don't do that with platonic relationships. So that's actually what I'm trying to talk about right now. Is like, okay, an area where I feel like I am being hypocritical when it comes to dating is that I have been super clear about what it is that I want and what I'm looking for. Also, faith has become a very big part of my life. I'm getting baptized.
Actually. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh my God.
on May 17th.
Wait, that's so sweet. That's my brother's birthday, by the
Is
way.
it?
I love
I have
that.
a friend who has the same birthday as well. So
Oh my God.
I've been really like, it's been a long time coming. It's been multiple years of me being like, all right, I'm coming back to this in a different way. I want to have a stronger relationship. I've never dated somebody who was like
Faith-based.
Like I've never dated another Christian, really.
I concur. I have not either.
And so I think for me, it was like, I say I want a long-term partnership. I say I'm looking for my life partner. And I settle for people I have a spark with who are actually who don't like, what can I say? What's the right way to use this language? I settle for it. I settled for somebody who like I'm interested about or feel some energy or chemistry with, or I'll get tripped up by it. Like I'll be like, oh well, we can just be friends, and then the friendship will get complicated. Or I'll be like, oh, we can just go on a couple of dates. I know what this is, so I'll just keep it. Like it'll just be fun, like casual. Like we just get dinner and that's it. Like, but then eventually feelings like, please, I'm a lover girl. Like I'm not meant.
You
for
are
this.
such a lover girl.
I'm not meant for this lifestyle. So it's like. Again, it's like I think it's up to me to create those boundaries and not get mad at other people for not having them. But I think the reason I settle is, and this is something I have to work on with faith as more too, is like being like faithful that it will happen. I think there's a scarcity right now where you feel like we're like, well, we kind of have to make do with what's around because there's not really much. If the guy's nice to me at least and he's an expert, like it's literally like you're negotiating with yourself. Like,
but even nice is so subjective these days.
I know.
Girl, do you know how many people, men and women,
Yeah.
put up with bull? So many people.
Totally.
So many people.
Yeah, girl.
And it's like, oh yeah, they're nice sometimes.
Or I'll even be like, I respect this person. I really admire them. But it's like, is this really what I imagine I'm going to spend the rest of my life with? And that's not to say anything about them. It's about like your worth isn't based on how compatible you are to me. Like that's, it's not, I'm looking for one partner. So like, of course it's going to be like a stiff competition. I want to do it one time,
Going and deviating into something else that I wanted to talk about was I find that I think a lot of people, unfortunately, will gravitate towards religion when they are at their lowest, when they need relief of accountability for themselves, when they have done wrong to others, to themselves, to the world at large. And unfortunately, they will gravitate towards religion as a way to circumvent their wrongdoings because they're not able to accept accountability within themselves that they had done whatever they had done, and they are not available and afforded the availability to be forgiven by the people who they have hurt. Therefore, they need to be forgiven by somebody else. I know that was a lot to unpack, but I feel that sometimes, I'm not saying that people go to religion exactly for this reason, or people who have really put themselves in a terrible position of life where they are not able to be afforded a sense of forgiveness, they immediately go to Christianity or Catholicism as a way to cope with their terrible wrongdoings. How do you feel about that?
Well, I would never stoop to say that like I'm an expert, and I feel like I am still very like young in my faith, and young in my understanding. But what has been revealed to me through my own experiences, that sometimes it takes massive calamity in your life and massive wrongdoing in your life to recognize and realize the need for mercy. Because if you don't feel like you need it, you don't really turn to it. And sometimes you have to fall flat on your back before you look up. And seek and you will find is a promise that's in the Bible, right? And I think that like for a lot, I wonder if that's why a lot of people find their way to Christianity or to Jesus specifically, because there's a level of mercy that transcends understanding and comprehension. And whether or not these people are doing it to circumvent or actually because they found or had encounters with Christ. I don't know. I would like to believe that some of them maybe have, because you see such like in Hollywood, there's a couple characters where you're seeing really like really large transformations. I don't know. I don't know them personally, and actually, it's really none of my business. But I will say I have seen it.
That's the kicker.
Yeah,
it
it's
is none of our business.
Because honestly, I've got enough to be judged for, and I am just trying to work it out for myself in this. And it is, it's a really humbling experience to understand and like to recognize that you know nothing. And
I know that I know nothing. That is one of my favorite quotes. I know that I know nothing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like relief from that statement and sentence. Like, you don't need to know things. You don't need to know everything in the universe. You don't need to be the greatest teacher there ever was, or the best student that there ever was. I know that I know nothing, and that's okay.
I know nothing, but I'm putting my anchor in Christ Jesus. That's where I'm at. And you know what? And it's because I've gotten here. And now I will say, before I had a hard time saying stuff like that. I didn't even tell. Like, it was, to me, like, to be known as like an astrology girly or things like that was like actually like how people knew me. I think it takes a lot of humility. I will say, like, I understand it. It's like, my nephew said something to me. He's 6 years old, by the way. I was like, oh, you're so lucky. I said something to him casually. I was driving him home from school, and he's like, oh, there's no such thing as luck. It's God's favor. And I was like, whoa.
Whoa. That's heavy.
That's so powerful, from the mouth of babes. Okay, like,
from the mouth of babes. Yes,
it's just
ma'am.
a really powerful thing. And I think I don't want to tell anybody, because I'm not the one who knows, right? Like, I think it's about seeking. If you genuinely seek, you will find it. That's all I'm saying. You will find it.
I think that's a true statement and testament to really anything in life.
You have to seek, and you can't be something that you're doing because everybody else is becoming X, Y, or Z, right? Like, I sat in silence for 10 days and prayed. And it was terrifying, because I was I was afraid to seek something, and I didn't get what I thought I was going to get out of it. I was at some like yoga retreat, right? And like, but that was like my first few encounters, and I was like, okay, here it is. And so I just think that, like, that I'm noticing there's a huge shift right now for people to like want to connect, like you said, and I'm so for it. I'm so for it. Whatever gets us out of this like super material, tangible, and into like what is spiritual and what's deep and what's deeper, I think heals a lot.
I completely agree with you. And I think this is a beautiful transition into what I wanted to discuss on camera, which was fasika.
Oh,
I loved my first fasika with you. It was so beautiful. For people who don't know,
sure,
would you like to explain? Because you explained it so beautifully in your
thank
dinner.
you.
So Afomia had a beautiful, intimate dinner that I'm so grateful that you included me in. It was so magical and so wonderful. And it was at midnight, and girl, you are the only person to get me out of bed at 12 in the morning.
I really appreciate it, honestly.
That's crazy.
Okay, so
to talk about it.
I grew up Ethiopian Orthodox, which is a sect of Christianity. And we have like a Lenten period where we give up dairy and meat. I also took out caffeine and sugar. And it's really because it's supposed to be time for prayer and like removing luxury and really reminding yourself. I also feel like it's an element of discipline too. Like, you can say, if I can deny my flesh this, like, I'm proving within myself that I can hold myself to a higher standard. And I think one of the most admirable traits that I'm seeing now, and like even things I find most attractive in people, is self-restraint. Like, discernment and restraint. I find that so mature, so like, I'm just enthralled by it.
Because
honestly.
There's a lack of.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
Because
it's very
so
indulged.
easy to succumb to that indulgence right now.
Totally.
Because there's so much accessibility.
Yeah.
That's why the rate of porn addiction is so high.
Oh, yeah.
It's because
Absolutely.
it's so easily accessible to people, and it's literally on your explore page. It's on your FYP.
I know.
Like, that's how intimate we're getting. It's feeding algorithmically this need that unfortunately cannot be satiated.
The purpose of so like that was the Lenten period. Fasika is Easter in Amharic, and the Orthodox calendar is different than the American or the whatever, the Gregorian, is that what it is? The other calendar that's used. So it was a week later than like Easter here. And typically what we do is we go to church at midnight to mark the end and celebrate Jesus's like rise from the tomb. So it's the Feast of Ascension essentially. And we actually eat at 3 a.m.
Girl.
But I knew there was no way I was getting everybody to 3 a.m. I was like, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it at midnight. I'm gonna celebrate it because it was my favorite custom growing up. And I hadn't actually celebrated it in 14 years, and I shared at the dinner. But a lot of that was because the last Fasika I celebrated with my family in Dallas was actually the morning I ended up taking my dad to the hospital for the last time, and he passed 2 weeks later. And I remember we were driving to the hospital, and my mom, it was, for some reason, it was just my mom, my dad, and me. She got out of the car to get a stretcher not a stretcher, a wheelchair for my dad. And so I had gotten in the front to park the car. And it's just me and my dad in the car. And he looks at me and he tells me, this is my last, like, I'm not coming out, basically. And I remember being like, no, you're being dramatic. That's not the case. But there was something that was so final about him saying that. I couldn't tell at the time if he was saying that because he was trying to prepare me or that he was scared. Because now, as a almost 35-year-old, I realize adults get scared too. I mean, I was 20 at the time. So in my mind, I thought my dad was like infallible. I didn't really understand. He was 61, I think, at the time.
Your dad passed away when you were 20? Mm-hmm. Me too. That's so crazy.
So crazy.
And it's around April time.
It's April, yeah. April 28th is my dad's. And yours is April 11th.
Fasika.
Wow.
It was
Fasika.
It was
the actual day.
The actual day. Mm-hmm. Continue.
So what was my favorite holiday growing up, and I have so many beautiful memories around it, became like one of the toughest.
Correct.
And what I think of every time that year is just his face when he told me like he wasn't coming out. Because that's not the day he died, but I just remember that specific day being like that moment that we shared that no one else really knew about.
Can I ask what he passed away from?
Yeah, my dad had a number of complications, but it was a liver cirrhosis brought on by fatty liver, which is like a genetic predisposition that we have, I think, as Ethiopians, maybe, or East Africans. But my dad wasn't like a big drinker. So cirrhosis was like kind of a shocking sort of thing to happen. But he was also diabetic. And had a really stressful sort of lifestyle. He was running a practice. He was a dentist. And
my dad was a chiropractor.
Really? Wow. And he ran his own practice?
Yes.
Yeah. And he was very selfless, I'm sure.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But continue. So I can imagine Fasika at this point on is extremely difficult I
hadn't even fasted actually for so long. So I think even my relationship to faith sort of distancing, I think had a lot to do with that as well too. And so, what ended up happening was this year is the 14th year. And in Orthodox culture, there's a cycle of 14 years of grief. And at that point,
I think is so beautiful.
Oh, wow.
14 years seems like a long time, right?
Yeah.
To a general use. 14 years is a long time.
Yeah.
It really isn't when you're grieving. It goes by like that.
Well,
and it doesn't at the same time.
And it doesn't, but
you're in limbo.
I mean, I'm approaching like it becoming like at this point, 14 years is like
it's approaching.
In 6 years, it'll be the amount of time he was in my life. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I'll have
I just got chills.
More time without him than with him in my life, you know? And it's like those types of things that I think about that a lot. And also, of those like 20 years, how much of them do I actually remember, you know? Like that's the tough thing. If you were an adult and you met somebody for 20, like a 20-year friendship at this stage in your life versus 20 years from your childhood on. But yeah, and it was tough because I just really loved my dad. He was my favorite person. So 14 years marks the grief cycle. And it's supposed to switch from grief to celebration. You're not allowed to cry anymore. You're supposed to celebrate them. And so I was like, let me start this by celebrating Fasika. And I will host my own for the first time. And we got 22 people in the house.
Loved it.
There was that beautiful aerial shot that Tanjay took of it. It was so nice. Beautiful. I loved it. And I made all the dishes myself, everything from scratch.
It was so good.
Except for the injera. I did not make the injera from scratch, and I hope
you're like, I need to give a PSA.
No, I have to because people be like, you made the injera as well. No, I did not make the injera, and I'm hoping to learn how to do that. That's the next thing on the.
It's on the docket.
It's on the docket for sure. Because I was like, I would love to do like injera workshops.
So wonderful. Going back to your dinner though, the people who attended obviously are a testament to who you are as a human. That's who you attract. It was so beautifully magical. And I just want to say on camera and on audio that it really, your friendships are a testament to who you are as a human. Always. Whenever you're surrounding yourself with your humans, that is a personal and mirror reflection of who you are as a human. And every single person, no matter if the encounter was small or very large and it lasted for the duration of our time together, it gave me a window into who you are as a human, which is you just attract beautiful people around you. And it was so magical that evening. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to like gather around and feel a sense of community. And I believe, obviously, that this is something that we've been wanting to talk about on camera.
Totally.
Is finding your sense of community because of a wide variety of reasons. I don't know where you want to start with that, but yeah. I just really felt a beautiful sense of community in that space. And it was so magical. I just have to say that on camera.
I feel very, very fortunate to have the ability to connect with people. Like, I think it's very easy for me to make a friend, which I'm grateful for. But I will say at the same time, a challenge that I have is keeping up with them. I'm not the best at keeping up with things that aren't right in front of me. And so I've noticed that like I can go to another country and make a bunch of friends, but the minute I leave, if they're not diligent about us staying in touch, it'll fizzle out. But I'll have all these warm memories of them, and I feel like I can see them, and it'll, like, for me at least, I can pick it up like it was yesterday, but not everybody feels that way. And I realized, I was like, wow, I don't know that I have the tools. I was thinking about, okay, how does my family keep up with people? Like, how do my parents do it?
Which is a good question to have.
It's like, okay, what did the generation above us do, right? And then I thought about it. I was like, wow, we had programmed and intentional time for us to gather. We had holidays. There's so many holidays in the Orthodox faith. My parents kept in touch with the Ethiopian community in Dallas, and through the church community, we had a group called they have a group called Mahaber, which is a selected group of friends and family that pool money together and meet monthly, I believe, or maybe quarterly, to make decisions on how the money is spent.
Interesting.
To talk about family and community events and affairs, and to show up for each other, like for funerals, for weddings, for graduations, for baptisms, etc. Like, so there's this built-in communal structure. It's a piece of what they knew back home that they've brought here in this other place, right? And I realized, I'm like, what does convening look like to our generation, and how much do we actually do it? And I'm somebody who always loves a good event. And if I'm like, okay, I like an event, I'm waiting for an event, why don't I start making them, start doing them? And I learned a lot of lessons from hosting this Fasika dinner. It's not the first time I've ever brought people together. When I was living in that house in NoHo that I told you about, that beautiful place, I was throwing events. I was throwing dinners.
Oh my God, would I have killed to see that?
Those
Are you
were
kidding?
really fun. And it was also a really cool group of people,
Yeah.
like artists, creatives, just like really lovely, diverse, eclectic people. And everyone was also very willing and open to being there. It wasn't snooty. It didn't feel like it was a very diverse group, which I really appreciated as well too. And so I had struggles. I think, how do I want to put this? When you put things together, when you host, there is a very vulnerable element to it. And I think because we're not used to doing it at the scale in which our parents maybe, or if you come from a, like, especially if you come from an immigrant background, the scale in which they do it, because the culture is used to doing events like this, people kind of fall in place and you don't really have to ask for anything. For example, Fasika at my house, my aunts would come over, my mom and all my aunts would come, and they'd know in advance. They'd prepare certain dishes in advance. They knew they had all the equipment and the tools in the home, how we present the dishes, even all the plates, everything's ready. We already have it. And there's a system in place. No one's having to call and be like, hey, can you make sure that this happens or whatever? No, people know the deal. They know they're coming to our house and they know we're going to do all that. When I was trying to throw Fasika at Sophia's, I realized I needed a lot of help and I didn't know how to ask for it. If Sophia and Hannah didn't show up earlier than everyone else and set up the space, I don't know
have been there.
What we would have done. Because I had the floor plan all over. It was a mess, right? And like the cooking of the food was already emotional enough for me. And then like the fact that I was carrying the weight of my dad's passing and all that stuff, and thinking about all of it, and thinking about how I'm going to host, and I'm like, okay, what dishes need to be heated up properly, blah blah blah. And I realized, like, oh, this takes a village, and we don't have villages here. We have an individualist mindset that adapted to like what the environment asks of us, but is that always the most nourishing to our soul? The biggest thing for me,
girl, say it again.
the biggest thing for me, and I'm so grateful that you guys came, but the biggest thing for me wasn't the people who showed up for the event. It was Sophia and Hannah showing up for me.
Amen. Amen to that, because it is the people who you are needing the most that will show up for you when you least expect it.
And also, I need to learn how to ask for that support.
Correct.
And that's something that I was like, okay, wow. So like this is an exercise and a tool in which it's like, I recognize how powerful this event was. I got messages from every single person who came. I also sent messages, but I got messages from every single person who came talking about how that event meant something to them and how they were grateful they came out on it. Like getting 22 people to show up to your house
midnight?
for dinner at midnight in Los Angeles on the West Side. Insane. I have a friend who came from Rosemead. Do you know where that is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very lucky. So I'm like, okay.
Wow.
If I want to keep doing this because I know it's impactful,
Yeah.
I also need to figure out what the structure looks like.
Yes.
And I think these things are nourishing, and I want to figure out how can I dedicate more of my life to bringing people together in authentic and uplifting ways, and even create a system around it. Like I would love to do a supper club. I would love to do a dinner series. I would love to do
I will be an active participant
Thank you.
in a. Are you kidding me? Food is what I live for. I would love to participate in a supper. Oh my God. What would that entail? What would that look like?
I'm still figuring out. I'm actually not sure just
That's
yet.
okay.
We can talk about it more though. But I think this chapter of my life is a chapter that's deeply rooted in convening.
And community building.
Community building and convening. Because building community, like making friends, is something I'm good at. Now, the convening part is how you maintain it. And I think that I haven't been as great at the maintenance part because I've also been jumping around. I haven't been stationary.
Which I think is because I think that that's very understandable. I think someone who is explorative, someone who is constantly moving around, yeah, your survival instinct in jumping around and moving around is to create community right then and there with the immediacy, because you need it, because this is an unfamiliar territory here. But like settling your roots somewhere and figuring out and having discernment of who should be around in your community, because you know that that's going to last a lifetime. You're stationed right here. This is your station here. You need to figure out who, when, where, why is that person going to be in your community.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful. And
you have to.
And it can expand and grow, and then subsects can happen and things like that. But it's like, we need each other. We need villages now.
So my wrapping up, we'll wrap up. Sure. But I do have some more lighthearted rapid fire questions to ask you.
Sure.
So music's a really big aspect of my life. I will be asking you to create a playlist for myself for the podcast episode of 10 songs that really encompass who you are as a human. This is just, that's the task and the homework assignment that I will be giving you.
Okay.
But in the meantime, since we are talking about our dads, what is a song that when it comes on, you immediately think of your dad, and what's the story behind it?
Okay. This is a tricky one, but it's not a song, it's a compilation album.
Ah, even better.
And there are a series of compilation albums.
Great.
They're called Ethiopiques. Oh. And it's inspired by the father of Ethiopian jazz named Mulatu Astatke. And my dad was a huge fan of Mulatu. And he had me read articles about him. He would play his music in the house all the time for me. And I remember I bought Mulatu's record when I had like a record player in college, and I would play it. And when my dad was in the hospital, I had it on my iPhone at the time. Yeah. And I remember we were sitting in his hospital bed together. And his best friend was visiting, and I was playing some Mulatu for him, and he's like, his friend was like, you passed this on to your daughter.
I love that.
You always loved this. You passed this on to her. That, and then there's one song that's not Ethiopian. I remember one time I was driving with my dad, and this song came on, and he loved a funky situation.
Love.
And it was Something About Us by Daft Punk.
Whoa. Okay, that's cool.
And it's the intro's playing.
Yeah.
And my dad, and I'm driving, and my dad's in the passenger seat, which is very rare for us. And it's like bum 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 bum. My dad's like this. He's like, I like this one. da 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 da. He's like, I like this. I like
love
this.
that.
He was having a good time. I was like, and it's the best Daft Punk song to be playing for my dad, because he wouldn't have liked any of the other ones. But he liked a nice jazzy or funky sort of situation. And so every time I hear that, I think of that opening and think of driving down in Plano, Texas with my dad. Just the song.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know what's interesting? There's a very ritualistic aspect of driving for me. I love driving.
Yeah?
I love being on an open road.
Wow.
My dad also loved being on an open road. And so whenever I think of my dad, I think about long distance driving and like what we would listen to for long distance driving.
What would you guys
2, 3,
listen to?
4. Oh my God. What wouldn't we listen to? My dad was a big musician. He played classical piano.
Whoa.
I know. I'll show you a video of him playing, and he was sick at the time, by the way. He was a couple of years into his illness, couldn't read or write music anymore, but he still had the motor skills. And I think a lot of people negate the power of your hands and motor skills when you are declining from something like Alzheimer's. It's like it's a routine that you're picking up. It's like you're picking up something at a specific time of the day, and your body naturally reacts to it because it's a routine that you have built throughout your lifetime. For him, it was the piano. That man could play the piano like there's no tomorrow. Beautiful musician. He also played the drums in the marching band. And he grew up in McAllen, Texas. And not for the entirety of his childhood, because they bebopped around the United States. My grandfather was a preacher. And they would kind of go around. He lived in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They lived in, I believe, Florida for a time. And then he kind of stayed in his like middle school years, almost high school in McAllen, Texas. And he played in the marching band, and he was a drummer. So he had good rhythm, right? he also just would pick up different instruments. He'd pick like up a saxophone and be like, can I borrow this from his friend? Can I borrow this? I'm like, sure. He'd play the saxophone, from what I've been told. And that's the reason why I got into playing the trumpet classically for 13 years, because he was like, I picked up the trumpet once. And I was like, if you picked up the trumpet once, I'll pick up the trumpet. It's like that Mean Girls moment in the Mean Girls movie where it's like she was wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I wore army pants and flip-flops. I was as soon as he said the trumpet, I'm like, I'm picking it up. And then he was like, well, I didn't actually like learn how to play it. And I was like, well, like now I just picked up this instrument for no reason. So to answer your question from that cool, tangent. Though. He was so musically gifted, and he was such a good singer too.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. Anybody that knows my father knew that he could sing.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he would lead song and prayer in church. So like he was the man.
Your dad was like praise and worship lead?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. He had such a powerful voice. He can go from baritone to tenor to the melody to the harmony. Wow. He was so beautifully gifted as far as being a musician goes. Now, to answer your question, I think what he felt comforted by, because he could listen to anything and find beauty in it, no doubt about it. But I think what he really gravitated towards was very sappy music, very sad songs, very like melancholic, beautiful songs that someone would probably tell him, oh, you're a sap, or like, you're fruity for listening to this. But like, he didn't care, because it was just, there was beauty in it. It was sad, yes, but it was very beautiful. There's like, so I remember a lot of like ballads or like melodies, like 70s, 60s, like 80s ballads.
Like Nights in White Satin.
Yes.
Why did I hit that immediately? I don't. It's weird. Is that one?
That's weird, but yes. And then he also loved like classic rock, which technically was like country back in the day.
Sure.
So he loved the Eagles.
Okay.
To answer your question, Lionized by the Eagles is what I hear every single time that I hear that song. I think of my dad. Okay, next question for you. This is a little bit more silly.
Sure.
Marry, kill. Because I need to know your sweets, like what you like as far as your sweets goes.
Okay.
And we're gonna go by category, and then we'll go deeper. And
okay.
Marry, kill. Cookies, brownies, ice cream.
Marry them all.
No, you can't marry them all. You can't marry them all. You have to pick.
If I'm gonna kill, I'm gonna kill brownies. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like a texture thing? Is it like
just of that group?
Of that group, yes.
That group, I'm gonna have to let brownies go.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Cookies, there's so many options.
Who are you marrying?
Ice cream, there's so many options. I think I'm marrying ice cream.
You're marrying ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a little moment with cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Marrying ice cream for sure.
Marrying ice cream is such a bold choice.
Yeah.
Because you can have any flavor, any personality. You're like, which one will I have today?
I like that. I like a spontaneity. I like a switch, a little
switcheroo. Love that.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm getting a little deeper. Okay. Let's go into ice cream.
Okay, ice cream. Okay.
Marry, kill. Cherry Garcia. Chocolate chip cookie dough. Mint chocolate chip.
Kill mint chocolate chip.
I had a feeling that you didn't like mint. I had a feeling you didn't like mint chocolate.
Kill mint chocolate.
There's a lot of people who are like in two separate camps here. Yeah, are you a mint chocolate chip fan?
I'm not a mint chocolate chip fan.
Or are you not?
I'm not a mint chocolate chip fan. And you know what? But you know what? I also don't like Cherry Garcia.
Okay.
So I guess
fair enough.
I'm just marrying.
How about a more classic flavor than Cherry Garcia? Because I feel like Cherry Garcia is very like it's its own separate entity.
You know what? I don't like Cherry Garcia, but that dark chocolate cherry situation you were talking about earlier, I was like, wait a minute. Go ahead.
let's do. Here's the funny thing is that Rocky Road was never on my radar until like a couple years ago, and that's when I realized I'm getting older. Because that's like an old person flavor.
You know what an old person flavor is? Not Rocky Road. It's butter pecan.
Girl.
Butter pecan is crazy, and that
Girl.
is on Mary for me.
No.
And that's on period. A hazelnut, a pistachio. I'm getting old.
No. Pistachio's unbelievable.
I know,
I think it's so underrated.
Kid, you would never have gotten pistachio.
I definitely got pistachio as a
kid,
child. Oh yeah.
I never got pistachio. I was like, pistachio.
No, girl, I was one of those weird girls that was like, Mary kill Earl Grey, lavender, or or green tea. Have you ever had green tea ice cream?
Yeah, matcha ice cream.
Like matcha or green tea? Unbelievable.
So good.
Fire. But
Earl
I was
Grey.
one of the
Earl Grey. Okay, here's an unpopular
So
opinion,
good.
but Earl Grey tastes like Fruit Loops to me.
Yes, it does, and that's the reason why I like it.
Okay, but here's my problem. I love how happy you got. My
Wait,
problem
I feel
is
that. I've never heard
no one
anyone
has ever
else
said that. Yes, thank you.
We are
Thank
the
you for
same
agreeing.
person.
We're the same person. My problem is I overdid it. I have 3 things that I overdid in my childhood that I can't eat now without being nauseous. Orange popsicles.
Me
Capri
too.
Sun. Really?
Yes.
Orange popsicles,
orange
specifically.
sherbet, like
Orange anything. Orange
I feel
sherbet,
so
orange
seen.
popsicle, forget
I
it.
feel so seen.
Capri Sun, any flavor.
Interesting. Is it like just the
No,
it's
I
the
overdid
ritual
it.
of like
No, I drank too many of them to the point where now they make me nauseous. Goldfish. Overdid it.
Whoa! I know for a fact there's Goldfish fans that are going to be watching or listening.
I know.
That's a crazy one.
I lived off goldfish for a long. Ask my parents. Because I would only eat crunchy stuff when I was a kid.
My best friend Haley, shout out Haley, is the most a fanatic. Like every single time I think about doing like a little gift bag or goodie bag for her, it's Goldfish. That woman downs
Did she like
Goldfish.
the pretzel ones? Because I feel like that's insane.
I don't know, actually. In
The pretzel ones are
14
crazy.
years of our friendship, I've never asked her.
Yeah,
There's a pretzel.
There's a pretzel one. It's crazy. But then Fruit Loops is on that list to me too, and that's why I can't have Earl Grey because it makes me nauseous now. Though, because I overdid it. I ate so many of them. I'm surprised Honey Nut Cheerios is not on that list. I never ate enough of them.
Honey Nut Cheerios to me is like crack. If you have like a bag, like.
Yeah.
Like
I lived off
like,
them one spring break. I really did. Yeah.
Having a bag of them for like a snack or like to munch on in the car.
Love it.
I will eat the entire bag.
It's terrible for you.
It's so
but I love
terrible
it.
for you, but it's so
They try to tell you
good.
it's heart healthy. They really pushed that for a long time.
Which is actually absurd.
I know.
Can we talk about that? Why did they push specific nutritious things onto us thinking that like this was gonna save us?
Listen, I don't want the
This is
FDA
gonna
to
save
come for
your
me,
cholesterol.
So. Wait. What forgotten cereal did you love as a kid? Forgotten.
I feel like all of the
Honeycomb.
ones...
You didn't like
I
it?
didn't like honeycomb. I don't know what it was about it. I didn't like it.
Did you like Captain Crunch?
So okay. Sorry, Mom, I'm calling you out on this one. My mom really did not like to provide sugary, like all like she loves an all natural situation.
Good for your
Even
mom.
now
Good for your mom.
that woman, God bless her, is so disciplined. So disciplined. And I so appreciate that about her. But very, very few times in my life have I ever seen like Cocoa Puff cereal in my pantry. That
Terrible cereal.
terrible cereal. But I loved
Reese's
it.
Puffs. So good.
I loved the commercials for Reese's Puffs.
Great.
Those were so great.
Cookie Crisp. Remember those commercials?
Yes.
Cookie Crisp. Crazy commercials. Anyway, go ahead.
Am I gonna get copyright? I need to stop. Like, I'm also like a very sing-songy person.
Me too.
I can get copyrighted very easily. But honestly, funny enough, the last question that I have for you of rapid fire, because you grew up in Dallas, what's something that is very, very specific to the South that you have never seen in California? Because you know I was born and raised in LA. So like LA is all I really know as far as my childhood. It's a lot of good Mexican food. It's a lot of like guacamole and avocado.
Y'all don't have a Buc-ee's. Y'all don't have a Buc-ee's.
I've seen Buc-ee's though. There's a Buc-ee's here. Or am I tripping? Like I feel like there's a Buc-ee's here.
Look, let's fact
No,
check
no.
this.
While
It
you're
must
talking,
be
while you're
very
talking.
recent because Buc-ee's was a truck stop, and I took Sophia to it when we were in Austin recently, and I was just like, you have to experience this because Buc-ee's is crazy.
Let me see. I'm not kidding you. I think that there
Have
is
they
one.
expanded to Cal? You know, I would be surprised because they're doing pretty well.
What I found really, really disturbing, I'm pretty sure it's Nashville, Tennessee. They opened up an In-N-Out.
We have an In-N-Out in Dallas. We have tons of them.
Girl, it should not have expanded past California. I'm so sorry.
Y'all
That
don't
one
have-
needs to be gatekeeped.
Y'all don't have a Whataburger.
Oh, are we in this point of contention where you're going to say the Whataburger's better than In-N-Out?
Maybe y'all don't have. Let me tell you something. Y'all don't have honey butter chicken biscuits. Okay. Do you know what a honey butter chicken biscuit is? Have you had one before?
No.
They're so good. I don't feel like Whataburger and In-N-Out should be.
Oh, no. The closest is Arizona.
Okay.
I was so tripping.
I don't feel like In-N-Out and Whataburger should be compared to each other because the menus
Are they different?
So different. It's wild. The menu. Y'all don't have chicken tenders.
I feel like chicken tenders is the ultimate like child food.
100%.
1,000%. Like any single time that I
big
see
chicken
chicken
nugget.
tenders on any menu,
Yeah.
I'm like, is this for 12 and under?
No, I know, but like they have chicken sandwiches, chicken tenders. They have biscuits. They have
At
a breakfast
Whataburger?
menu. Yeah,
Is
Whataburger's
this news to me? Because I've never heard this before.
Whataburger has a myriad of shakes. We got a whole bunch. The Whataburger's
Shut up.
Whataburger is so southern that you shouldn't compare it to In-N-Out.
Okay, okay.
At all.
Okay, fair enough.
In-N-Out knows what it does, and it does just that. That's it. You gonna get what you get, and that's it. You're coming there for a very specific thing. Whataburger, you got a lot of options. It's also open 24 hours.
Shut up. Are you kidding?
The honey butter chicken biscuit is only available from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. I think is what it is. Yeah. So it's like a nighttime breakfast menu. Oh, they have a breakfast situation.
So I might be doing like a cross-country road trip very
gotta
soon.
go to Whataburger,
Should I go to Whataburger?
You have to FaceTime me when you're there, honestly. This will be a follow-up to this episode. Yeah. Whataburger is, once you've had a honey butter chicken biscuit.
Can anyone else vouch for Whataburger right now?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to hear from
I mean, it's
people.
also terrible for you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, yeah.
Girl, all the good things for you are bad for you.
Bad for you. Yeah.
You know what they say?
What?
Good boys go to heaven, but bad boys bring heaven to you. That is exactly the same thing with food.
Bad boys bring heaven to you?
Girl.
I rebuke it.
Yeah, I've heard. You've never heard that before? You've never heard that,
trouble.
boy? Good boys go to heaven,
rebuke it.
but bad boys bring heaven to you. I rebuke in the name of the Lord Jesus. I rebuke.
That's a great way to end this episode.
Honestly, that's phenomenal. Thank you so much, by the way, for coming on.
I love you so much.